Zane's typical personality, he's very calculating. Like he wants to know his moves before he's going to make his moves. He loves chess, he loves baseball. I think that all plays into that. Whenever he's here, that shyness comes out. And it's funny whenever he does have one of those moments where they see his personality, and then it becomes a big deal, like, oh, Zane came out today.
He went into the hospital with croup, and he ended up being in the hospital for about 8 days. They sent us home on steroids, and he ended up being puffy in his cheeks, but we thought it was the steroids. Come to find out, he ended up getting more swollen, so we took him back to the emergency room, and then they diagnosed with something called nephrotic syndrome. He had about 4 to 5 pounds of fluid on him and a 16-month-old.
Nephrotic syndrome is a condition where the kidneys won't work normally. So they do leak protein into the urine instead of keeping it in the blood where it belongs. So when you don't have adequate protein in your blood, you leak out all the fluid into your tissues. 90% of the time, patients respond to the standard treatment, which is steroids. But unfortunately, Zane's condition is steroid resistant.
Since medicine still wasn't working, they wanted to do genetic testing. We found out he had what's called MPHS2 gene mutation. Basically, he was born with it, that no matter what happened, his kidneys were going to get scarred. We knew Zane was going to have to have a kidney transplant at that point. We watched him for several years until his creatinine started going up, and then we started talking about the transplant list. And since we wanted to do living, we were hoping that Dad would be a match.
When I knew that Zane was going to have to go down the transplant route, like right then was, if I can do this, I want to be the one to do it. The hardest part was during the whole process, we really put ourselves and our personal health on the back burner because it was so much focus on Zane and the endless stays in the hospital and trying to keep life normal for our daughter. So I had gained weight, I had done a lot of things, and when I learned about the process for what a living donor has to do is when I had to kick it into high gear and start working out every day, eating right, taking care of myself. I dropped 60 pounds in 6 months. I did home workouts. I went for walks and runs in our neighborhood, cleaned up my eating habits. They did a wonderful job with me. Did as well as they could with the kidney to get it to him over here at Arkansas Children's, for it to go in and be as smooth a transition as possible. It was
nerve-wracking because I couldn't be in 2 places at once, but we FaceTimed, thank goodness for technology. The transplant coordinator, she came out and said that they were about to be done with Zane and taken him to the ICU. At that point, I was able to breathe for a little bit because I knew he was okay. I knew Zane was okay, and I was going to get to see him soon.
Zane's been doing well with his new kidney transplant. We usually check their labs every 6 to 8 weeks to make sure to continue to monitor the kidney transplant function. And he's going to stay on some of the medications to keep his kidney transplant healthy. He can eat whatever he wants, and he can drink how much ever he wants. He's like a normal kid.
The care team has been completely wonderful. Child Life, all the nurses on 4C, they all love Zane.
Everybody that we've encountered up here has just been tremendous, and they've become friends and family-like.
Whenever Zane is sick or there's something going on, if I call or if I send a message in my chart, I'm responded to later that day after she talks to the doctor, and they have a plan for him.
You know, they would call us at times and just say, hey, I know he was seen 2 weeks ago. Is he still okay? And it's just checking in, or sending text messages, things that I feel go beyond, but then that's also what makes Arkansas Children's so special. I hope everybody in Central Arkansas and Arkansas at large realizes what a gift it really is as a hospital.